He's a good-looking guy. Still is. Yesterday, the Lakers agreed to a 2-year deal with Avery Bradley. It's worth $9.7 million. His perimeter defense. Nick, what do you make of the signing?
Depends on what Avery Bradley you get. You getting the Avery Bradley we saw in Boston when he was a spectacular defensive player and a above-average three-point shooter, or the Avery Bradley the last couple years since he suffered some lower body injuries where he's just become a league average defender? If he can be 85% of the defender he was in Boston, then this is an important addition for the Lakers.
It's very important for the Lakers. I think last year what he did with the Clippers, you could start to see some of the explosion come back. I think he started 49 games there last season. He is a legitimate NBA starter. His overall ability will be paid dividends, though, once they get into the playoffs. His versatility on defense is needed by the Lakers.
All right, moving on. Yesterday, Magic Johnson tweeted, quote, "Laker Nation, I'm dreaming about the fourth quarter Lakers team with LeBron, AD, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, and Kyle Kuzma. That's almost unbelievable." Quote. Nick, are the Lakers the best team in the NBA?
Unbeatable, I think is what he said.
Let me make sure. Yep, that's what he said.
Unbeatable. Listen, I don't know if I can call them the best team in the NBA. What I can say is this. Magic doesn't always have the most accurate takes, but that closing lineup, if I were running the team, that would be my exact starting lineup. If LeBron's going to start at the point, you put Avery Bradley in the starting lineup so he can guard the opposing team's point guard. AD's your starting center, plus Green and Kuz. That's their best five-man unit on paper.
Jenna, you pointed out that Magic, he retired so he could run the Lakers on Twitter. It's a great tweet by him. It's very, very obvious. Those are his.
Now that Kawhi has made his
producer.
decision to join the Clippers,
What's Dusty's last name?
More insight into how and what really went down.
Initials.
A new report says that Kawhi reached out to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant before recruiting Paul George. See, should KD have chosen to play with Kawhi instead of play with Kyrie?
Well, this is one of the things that I thought was probably the most intriguing about Kawhi. How he was very, very aggressive. Now, I knew that he was going to talk to at least one player. And it was expressed to me that he would have a conversation with Kevin Durant when the time was right. That's why when the initial list came out with both the New York teams on there, that was part of the plan, that he would be able to partner with Kevin Durant either in Brooklyn or in New York. We knew that Kevin Durant really didn't want to go to the Clippers for a number of reasons. I'm not going to say because LeBron's there or anything, but for a number of reasons, business-wise, he had set up shop there. But as far as the length that Kawhi went to, I'm going to reach out to Kyrie. I'm going to reach out to Paul George. And Kawhi is not a guy that has an extensive list in his Rolodex, in his phone, of guys that he's friendly with. Him and Danny Green, and that's about it. Kawhi is just not that type of guy.
Paul George said himself how surprised he was
to get
the phone call, how surprised he was to hear from Kawhi. That he said, for a quiet guy, he's a hell of a recruiter.
Yes.
And so, like, it doesn't seem like he and Paul George, even though they're both from Southern California, both went to small schools, it's not like these are old AAU buddies, guys that have been good friends for 15 years.
Yeah, these players and the power they have amongst each other is at an all-time high. But that part for Kawhi Leonard, to me, was I had a great deal of interest in that, who he was going to talk to, partnering up, because he realizes I can't do what I did last year in Toronto. To be able to win more championships in this league, I need at least one other player. And I'm glad that he took control of the situation compared to having agents, having teams. Right now, this is a player-driven league, and we saw that in free agency with Kawhi Leonard.
All right, so 2 points. One is on the process you described. Kawhi, I hope everyone on television, radio, newspaper, internet, who's had all this energy for crushing LeBron, for trying to recruit guys, for crushing LeBron for allegedly doing with Anthony Davis what we now know Kawhi did with Paul George. Go to a team, go to your team, demand a trade, come to my team. And LeBron trying to add best players possible. I hope you keep that same energy for Kawhi. Now, I don't have to worry about that because I don't mind the recruitment. I don't mind guys trying to add other players to their... On its face, it would seem, if you're Durant, who's the better guy to play with. Kyrie Irving in the city of his choosing, essentially, Brooklyn, or Kawhi Leonard, either with the Clippers or the Knicks potentially, or maybe Brooklyn and Kyrie's just kind of left out in the cold, that Kawhi's obviously the better player, and he is the better player than Kyrie Irving. But I think Kevin Durant made the absolute unequivocal correct decision. Because if Kevin Durant, especially coming off the popped Achilles, where he's going to potentially miss this season, with Kawhi Leonard having just won a championship and a finals MVP, if he teams up with him, then he's in a similar position he was just in with Steph. Whose credit? Who's the best player? Whose team? All of that. Kevin Durant, even though he won those finals MVPs, he doesn't get the full unquestioned credit for those. He had to go somewhere they hadn't won before, and somewhere where when he's on the court,
he is the unequivocal best player on the team.
Absolutely. If he's trying to climb the only mountain he has left to climb. If he wasn't worried about that, he could have stayed in Golden State for the most money with the best teammates around him. So I will not criticize Kevin Durant one bit for choosing Kyrie over Kawhi, because yes, he wants to win a championship, but in a certain manner with a certain team, and I don't know if Kawhi that would have been available to him.
To me, Kevin Durant earned the right to be able to pick and choose where he wants. So to me, no matter where he would, I wouldn't have criticized him. He's earned it. But I totally disagree with you saying that Kawhi Leonard has a better basketball resume than Steph Curry.
No, I said he's better than Kyrie Irving.
Well, as far as Kyrie is concerned, to me, the friendship wins out over anything.
Yes.
All right? Like, before I was hired at Fox, and in the interview process.
Oh, I love memory lane.
They gave me the opportunity, Chris, who would you like to do a show with? Is there someone out there that you feel like fits into the mold of what we're trying to do? And at that time, given other people's contracts and everything, because I didn't know Nick, hadn't met Nick yet, but they gave me the opportunity, and I made a list of guys, but none of them were available. And none of them would have the chemistry to be able to do what we do in the mornings, or they didn't have the reputation that they could do something like that.
But that list was based on people you were friendly with, people you had a relationship with.
Absolutely. Right. So at some point in your career,
you want to work with people you
get the opportunity to be able to work with people, or you can select the people you're going to work with, you're going to do that every trip of the train. Okay? Because it's not about money. It's about who do I want to go forward with. And the relationship between KD and Kyrie, to me, it just proves out to be true. Because Kevin Durant had real options, and right now the hottest basketball player in Kawhi Leonard, the first phone call he was making as far as someone he wanted to partner with was Kevin Durant.
And I totally get why Kawhi would say KD would be his first choice, but let's just, for the moment, let's just act as if the relationship KD has with Kyrie, he had the exact same one with Kawhi. Don't you agree that for Kevin Durant, when we talk about the last mountain he has to climb, is one that would be difficult for him to climb if he's doing it alongside another guy who's already won a championship the way Kawhi just won that championship?
As long as he wasn't going to the guy's team. As long as he wasn't going to the team that had drafted that guy and he had built up all that collateral. Steph Curry was two-time MVP, and that was the team that he was on. So Kevin Durant could have partnered with Kawhi Leonard and still built his resume.
If they went to, say, New York or Brooklyn.
Absolutely, because they have the same basketball pedigree and resumes, basically. Even though you might want to discredit Kevin Durant at the Warriors' 2 titles, but I'm not going to discredit him. Kawhi's got 2 titles. KD's got MVP, because that's something Kawhi doesn't have. 2 finals MVPs. To me, they are very similar as far as their basketball career.
Look, if parity's the thing you want, everything worked out the way it was supposed to as far as evening up every team right now.
Listen, the league's the most wide open it's been since 2006, 2007. You got a third of the league thinks they can win the title credibly, and it creates, we'll see what it does television ratings-wise and whatnot, because TV ratings say people love super teams, but as far as interest in the regular season, as far as it mattering where you're seated in the Western Conference, those games, those back-to-backs in February, everything will matter this year in a way it hasn't felt like it's mattered over the last decade.
Excited. Take a break. Coming up, is everybody making a mistake counting out the Golden State Warriors? That is next on First Things First. You already say no?